My production does not conform to many of the standard conventions of the film industry, let alone the genre. My trailer breaks many conventions of film. For example, my trailer has only one character throughout the whole production. There are no films that I have seen nor heard of that also explored this facet of film. There have been films that have also explored the idea of being in isolation and alone, whilst trying to face overwhelming odds, such as I Am Legend, which did feature Will Smith's character being alone in New York against monsters, a very similar premise to my film. However, in I Am Legend, Will Smith is not the only character that the audience has the ability to engage with, as has his family at the start of the film, as well as the mother and son he meets later on in the film. Whereas in my film, I would be the sole character that the audience will be able to engage with, as any other character may be heard but not seen, i.e., the radio transmission. This may prove to be a very polarizing approach to filmmaking, as people may, on the face of it, think that the film will become boring, as the story will only follow one person, or people may be drawn into watching the film based purely on the fact that there is only one character, as it's never been done before in film. Thus, they are curious as to how it has been executed. However, it could be argued that my trailer does follow some conventions, as it begins slowly, building up to a more exciting crux, where the title then comes up and then in theatres, which many other trailers have followed this route and seems to be very successful. I also have an apparent chase scene which is evident throughout many trailers and films. So it's not a convention breaking theme, although it seems to work for other films, so there's no reason it shouldn't work for my trailer. Another convention of a thriller film is there's tense music going on, which is clearly evident in especially the start of my trailer, where the sad music seems to be building up to something, which obviously it does. It builds up to the chase scene, so there's tense music throughout, which is a convention of thrillers. So I'm adhering to conventions as opposed to not doing so. Another convention of thriller films is there's close-ups, which is evident in my trailer. So I'm again adhering to conventions, but at the same time, by doing so, it's a juxtaposition of the character that is actually, as a whole, breaking conventions of thrillers because there's no real antagonist, which is another convention of a thriller. It's usually antagonist, but the antagonist is almost himself, as he's battling himself in isolation and trying to overcome his loneliness, which he might be able to vent through a certain event occurring, which would happen after the trailer finishes. When I was making my trailer, poster, and magazine cover, I would try to make the three link together as best as possible through the use of different elements, for example, props, costume, colours, fonts, and the main character itself. The isolationist text on the poster is exactly the same as the title screen inside the trailer and the same as the isolationist on the magazine. This creates a subconscious effect to associate the font type with the trailer or the ancillary text that they've seen, therefore catching the audience's attention when they see one of the font types, making it effective. Without this continuity of font, the ancillary text would have been much less effective, as without recognizing the character on the front cover, the audience would not necessarily associate one ancillary text with the other. I use props to create an effective combination of ancillary text in my trailer. So my poster, magazine and trailer all have within them the same gun which I was using as my main prop within the trailer. I use this because it shows the action side of my film, which although not being the main genre, is a subgenre of my film. Therefore, the use of the gun as a prop in all parts of my work shows a continuity and demonstrates to the audience what the film is likely to be about. The colour used across the ancillary text and the trailer all match up perfectly, as I was trying to portray the isolation and loneliness that the main character is feeling. That is why the poster has a black and white background to illustrate the desolate life that he's been leading, which within the trailer is displayed through the character's mannerisms. Another thing that both the ancillary text and the trailer share is the main character. He provides the best link of all for the audience to recognise, as humans are developed to recognise faces, thus making a person a much more reliable link than something like a font or colour. Therefore, by sharing a character across all ancillary texts and trailers makes it a much more effective combination, as opposed to having one ancillary text without the main character in it, as the audience might not be able to distinguish that it's from my trailer.